Hello, fellow Canadian pro-lifers, and those of you who just happened to stumble upon March for Life Canada's YouTube page. Thank you for joining us today for the 2021 National March for Life theme launch and kickoff to the 100-day countdown featuring some very special guests. My name is Matt Wojciechowski, and I am the Vice President of Campaign Life Coalition and member of the National March for Life Organizing Committee. With me today, I have three other members: Debbie Duval, our National Capital Organizer, Josie Lutke, our CLC Youth Coordinator, and Kevin Dunn of Dunn Media, a man who wears many hats, including filmmaker, speaker, and EWTN broadcast producer, and the list goes on and on. So thanks for being here, guys.
Great to be here.
What a crazy year it has been. Last year, we were forced to host our first ever virtual National March for Life as a result of the ongoing pandemic and lockdown. I don't know about you guys, but I still get pretty anxious thinking about last year.
Funny, I don't think I've ever used the word surreal before in my life until last year. But I couldn't believe we pulled it off, and the incredible feedback from pro-lifers all across Canada, I couldn't get over it. It was really great. But that does mean, of course, that we're going to have to do some kind of hybrid probably forever now.
Yeah, I mean, once you start doing that kind of online, and I mean, it works so well. And we had viewers from all over the world, which was just amazing, being able to spread the pro-life message, to be able to share these apologetics to a global audience through marchforlife.ca and all of our social media. It was amazing, but you're right, it was surreal. It was crazy, but we had a great team. I can't say enough about the team, and I love working with you guys. We had pro-life leaders from all around the world, politicians, religious leaders. Everybody really came through for the event last year with video greetings, live interviews, of course, and it really made for a real unique March for Life, and that's kind of what we're hoping to do again this year, hopefully in Ottawa and online. How are you doing, Josie?
I'm looking forward to 2021 National March for Life, but I have to admit that we did set the bar pretty high last year, I feel, and so it's going to be a challenge to meet it this year. But that's always the case with the March for Life, right? You always set the expectation high, and people keep coming back year after year.
And let's not forget that when we had to make that the horrible announcement last year, I think it was 3 weeks before the March for Life, where we decided, we kind of waited right to the very last moment to decide to go virtual. And just to think that those last 3 weeks leading up to the March for Life week, the Holy Spirit worked. God works in mysterious ways, and he uses people like us who, we try our best, I guess, but he just made it something very special, and it worked out. And man, I cannot wait to go back to Ottawa, though, and have that physical March for Life experience. It's only been 1 year that we've missed out, but it feels like, I just want to be part of a big crowd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's such a feeling too when you know that the decision makers are right behind you or right in front of you, depending on where you're standing at Parliament Hill. I mean, none of us thought that we'd be in the state that we are in now. Obviously trying to keep each other healthy, but still trying to make a difference in the world, because even though much of the country is still in lockdown, abortions are still happening. Euthanasia, medical aid in dying is still happening. People's lives are being ended early or don't have the opportunity to live at all through abortion. So these as important as the pandemic is and keeping each other healthy, ultimately life is more important. And so we have to make sure that we are still very galvanized, and we are still very working together to end the scourge of abortion and euthanasia. And so I can't wait to get back, like you, Matt, to the Ottawa for the rally and the march. And so this year, as I mentioned, we'll be creating a hybrid, which basically means online and in person, God willing, being in Ottawa. As far as the hybrid, as far as the online component, that'll start on May the 9th. through the 11th. Remember last year we had some great movies that everyone was able to watch right on marchforlife.ca and on our platforms. And we'll be doing that again from May 9th to 11. We've already started talking to some movie producers. These are great pro-life films. So we're very, very happy. We're going to be announcing those in the week to come. And then the Mass for Life, the National Mass for Life, which happens at Notre Dame in Ottawa. We're aiming for that again, both in Ottawa, and we'll also be broadcasting that online. That is our hope. And Debbie, why don't you talk about some of the other events that people are also maybe a little bit more familiar with?
So we're really planning on having a physical National March for Life this year, downtown Ottawa on May 13th, as well as online and with EWTN. Also, the evening before, we are going to have a physical candlelight vigil at the Human Rights Monument in Ottawa, and again, online as well. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're hoping that all of the restrictions will be off and we'll be able to gather. Even if the crowd sizes are smaller, as we sort of expect, we still want to show our presence. We need to show our presence for this most important event. Because of the uncertainties about indoor meeting, we've decided as a National March for Life committee that we're going to have an online rose dinner. So we have some wonderful speakers that we'll be announcing as we go along, but we're going to have this online rose dinner, and it's for everybody this year. It's for the youth and for us. But don't be worried, because there's still a youth conference coming the day after. Yeah. So I'd like Josie to maybe make a few comments about that agenda.
So on the Friday, as usual, we'll be having a youth conference, but it will be online, not in person this year. It will be hosted by Niagara Region Right to Life and Campaign Life Coalition Youth. Because it's online, no matter where you are in Canada, you can join in. You don't have to worry about transportation or cost. I can promise you we have a great lineup of speakers that we're putting together. It's going to be just as educational and inspirational as the youth conference always is. And that will be, again, May 14th in the afternoon and evening. And so whether you're a high school student, university or college student, in the workforce, or just chilling at home, if you're a youth, I definitely encourage you to join the youth conference. It will definitely be worth your time.
Thank you, Josie and Debbie, for those updates. Just reminding everyone watching that you can find all the information on marchforlife.ca. We will be updating the website regularly as we come closer to the march. So please stay tuned. Check out the website. Announcement of speakers, registration information, all that stuff will be online. So before we jump into the premiere of the 2021 National March for Life promotional video, which will reveal the theme for this year, Kevin, what can you tell us about the theme without actually saying what the theme is?
Thanks, Matt. We really wanted a theme that spoke to the times that we are living in. Last year's theme, Be Not Afraid, really resonated with all of us. And from what we hear from you, it resonated with you as well, because it really spoke to what it means to be pro-life, to be not afraid, to speak the truth of these evils, of these horrors against the sanctity of life, against the dignity of the human person, and to reach out. And so this year we chose a theme that really spoke to the gravity of the movement around the world. We're one of many, many different marches that happen around the world. And there is a real feeling of cohesiveness, a really feeling of solidarity that we wanted to bring to the march this year, especially in these times when we really need to be reaching out to the baby in the womb, to pregnant mothers, to elderly people and vulnerable people who might be feeling alone or isolated. These are the times that we need to do. And of course, in a pandemic, the situation is even worse. But there is always hope. There's always joy. And that is the key message, along with reaching out, that we wanted to bring to this year's march with this year's theme. So we hope it resonates with you as much as it does with us. Matt?
So thank you for that, Kevin. And without further ado, we are pleased to announce and premiere the 2021 National March for Life promotional video, which will announce this year's theme.
We are Canada's National March for Life, one of hundreds of marches held all over the globe, standing in solidarity with society's most vulnerable. With one voice, one message, Child in the womb, you are not alone. Pregnant mother, fearing an unknown future, you are not alone. Beloved senior, feeling isolated and afraid, you are not alone. On May 13th, Canadians will march peacefully on Parliament Hill and online to implore our leaders to enact laws that protect life from conception until natural death. In these days of uncertainty, let us reach out and tell those most in need, you are not alone.
The National March for Life theme this year is You Are Not Alone. What an awesome video. I just love the scenes of just all those global marches. It really reminds us that the March for Life isn't just something that happens in Canada. It's not something that just happens in Washington, D.C., but you have countries all around the world in every continent joining forces kind of with one united voice saying, you are not alone. We stand for life. We will defend the right to life from the moment of conception until natural death. I really like this theme. The March for Life Committee loves it as well. And I really hope this theme speaks to all of you watching today. And that it encourages you and it motivates you to act, right? Because we need to act on this theme. People are alone out there. And what can we do to help them feel safe, to support them, to encourage them to choose life and to just live with dignity? Debbie, what about you?
I have to say the scenes too, that really shows us that we are united. And you know, I don't want to ever feel alone. And that's how we know that God is always with us as well. So we have to act, but we also have to pray. So praying for the end of abortion and those who've had abortions, moms in crisis pregnancies, moms alone. We need to pray for the abortion workers. We need to pray for all our seniors and all of those people with terminal illnesses, those who are truly alone. They aren't. We are there together for them. And then the next day, we show up and we march for life, all lives, from conception till natural death.
When I think of You Are Not Alone, I realize it only has meaning if we share it by our words and actions, as Matt just said a little while ago. As pro-lifers, we know that abortion and euthanasia will always be what it is: murder, and the killing of the innocent. We can't forget about that. We can't soften the message at all. It is murder, the murder of society's most vulnerable. But we will only change the culture by meeting people where they're at and assuring them that they are not alone in their journey. I like to talk about becoming a prophet of hope. That's what I do in my ministry. And I think that's at the core. We tell people you are not alone, and journey with them. The true meaning of compassion is to journey with. Anyway, that's what I think about. Josie?
So to be honest, this past year has been the worst one of my life. And I know a lot of people feel that way. And I can't imagine going through a pandemic and lockdowns when you're also dealing with pregnancy, or you just found out that you have a terminal illness, or you're struggling with a disability. And so what I really like about this theme is that it really does appeal to everyone. And it reminds us, not only in terms of comforting us, that even though we might be suffering, we never suffer alone, but it also instills in us a corresponding sense of duty to accompany others in their struggles. And so to do that, we've reached out to some very special people, some March for Life regulars, so that they can provide their insights and commentary on the theme, You Are Not Alone, as well. And they'll also be talking about the importance of the March for Life in today's crazy, crazy world.
Thanks, Josie. So when we had this theme finalized, we reached out to some really close friends of the March for Life just to get their feedback, to see what do they think about this theme, You Are Not Alone. And they were extremely generous with their time, and they sent us some really inspiring video messages that we will now share with all of you. So in the following order, we will now cut to videos from Steve Karlen, a campaign director for 40 Days for Life, followed by Stephanie Gray Connors, who is an author, international speaker. You've seen her everywhere, from Google to debates with abortionists, and founder of Love Unleashes Life. And to Genevieve Schadenberg from Compassionate Community Care, a very much needed organization nowadays, especially in Canada, as we face the expansion of assisted suicide and euthanasia. So here they are.
Hello, Matt, and to the entire CLC team, thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in this National March for Life launch video. The National March for Life is definitely one of my very favorite pro-life events of the entire year, and I want to congratulate you on this year's theme, You Are Not Alone, because we know that a sense of loneliness and of being alone is one of the key drivers of the abortion epidemic. Peer-reviewed medical research tells us this, that 78% of women who have abortions don't know about the support that's available to empower them to choose life. 2/3 are pressured into an abortion by another person. And we hear that of women who have experienced the trauma of abortion, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% report that if just one person had reached out a helping hand and encouraged them to choose life, that they would have done so. So that's what we do at 40 Days for Life. We go pray in front of abortion facilities all across Canada and around the world. And former abortion workers report that breaking that sense of loneliness in front of an abortion facility works. That when there's even one person there praying, of women planning to have an abortion, set up to 75% of those abortion appointments are canceled or turn into no-shows. And it's the same phenomenon at play with your National March for Life. When you're marching through the streets of Ottawa, it is a powerful, tangible, physical witness to the dignity of each and every human life, and to the dignity of motherhood, and to the fact that each pregnant mother is not alone. There are resources available. There are people, there are organizations, there is support everywhere you look. And that makes what you do so critical. You serve as the conscience of your country, and you send that critical message to every pregnant mother worried about an unknown future that you are not alone.
You are not alone. If ever there were a time where that message was relevant, it is now, where so many have experienced the devastating consequences of lockdown, isolation, and feeling alone. We need to remember, though, that we are image bearers. We are made in the image of God, who is a communion of persons. That's why in this season I have reflected on how hell is isolation, but heaven is a communion of persons. As God is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in a relationship of giving and receiving love, we were designed to image that, to reflect that. And when we think of the relationships that really have at their heart a communion of persons, those are the relationships that involve the mother to the preborn child and the creation of new life. To think that all of us had to begin through a communion of persons between the male and female. And then once we began, once again, our vulnerability necessitated a communion of persons, the preborn child in relationship to her mother. And so it's so important as a pro-life movement that we declare, you are not alone. And in particular, preborn child, you are not alone. First of all, you are in the body of your mother. And where she is scared, where she is afraid, you as a mother and child are not alone, because the pro-life movement stands with you to walk alongside you and your mother and love you and care for you. That's our message to the preborn child. It's our message to the world. And there's an opportunity for you to reconnect, to be in a communion of persons with other pro-lifers at the March for Life happening this year. And I hope you will seize that opportunity to declare to the world, you are not alone.
In the past year, many people have felt a sense of isolation from their family and friends. This has led to an increase of feelings of despair, depression, and loneliness in our communities. For our senior family members who may already be feeling alone, this past year has been especially difficult. Seniors and those experiencing significant health concerns are afraid of dying alone and dying in pain. And instead of giving them proper pain management and personal support, our government has given them euthanasia and assisted suicide as a way out of this fear. But this is not solving anyone's fear. This is simply ending a life. We must work together to build a stronger connection with our seniors. A simple phone call or video chat can give a senior a sense of purpose and hope in the future. We are not alone, and our seniors are not alone. This year, it is more important than ever that you attend the March for Life, whether that is in person on Parliament Hill or virtually. We are the generation of change for the pro-life movement. It is up to us to help the most vulnerable at all stages of life, from conception until natural death.
Thank you, Stephanie, Steve, and Genevieve, for your amazing videos and your witness to life that you've been giving the world for so many years. You guys are stalwarts, pro-life stalwarts, and the Canadian pro-life movement thanks you for that. And of course, we hope to see more of you in the upcoming 2021 National March for Life. Kevin, today we didn't just launch the theme, but we're also launching a 100-day countdown to the National March for Life. This is something we've never done before. Tell everyone what it is. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, I think it is what it is what it says. It's a 100-day count. Tomorrow is 100 days before the March for Life on May 13th, the actual march. So we thought we'd count back 100 days. And you know what? In looking back at the plethora of amazing speakers, of the people that have gathered on the Hill, who have walked through the streets of Ottawa, given talks at the youth conference and the Rose Dinner. What an incredible way, with many of us kind of glued to our computers these days, to witness and to have a look back at some of the incredible speakers who have given us that message of life that we need to hear. That message of be not afraid, that message of you are not alone. Over the past, 23 years? Is this our 23rd year, Matt?
23,
right.
24.
23, 24. So that's what we're going to be doing. And each day of the week is going to have its own particular theme. And we have a promo here that kind of shares what the 100-day theme is all about. So we'll roll that right now.
The countdown is on to the 24th Annual National March for Life in Ottawa and online. Join us as we salute the March for Life with a special theme for each day of the week. Sunday, Life on Film, a review of some of the greatest pro-life films ever produced.
Sorry to bother you, but they need an extra person in the back room. Are you free?
Monday, March Moments, a look back at the powerful moments that have led up to what the March is today.
This is the largest group we've ever had at the March for Life.
Tuesday, Testimonies, inspirational stories from individuals who have lived the pro-life experience.
The event that changed my life.
I was diagnosed with MS when I was 30. At the 2 to 3 year point, my grief was so deep.
World Wednesdays, a look at our March for Life partners throughout the world.
March for Life UK,
Washington, D.C.
Que viva Mexico.
Thursday, Thank Youths, a salute to Canada's pro-life youth.
So with me right now is Martin Minton of Watford, Ontario. He is a veteran member of the March for Life Youth Committee.
Friday, Facts, the truth about abortion and euthanasia in Canada. And Saturday, Speakers, a look back on some of the most memorable speakers from the March for Life.
They have taken the focus away from what abortion is, which is human killing, and put it onto stuff like reproductive rights and bodily autonomy, which is all lies because a woman does not abort her own body.
The countdown to the 24th Annual National March for Life.
So we hope you tune in for the next 100 days. In fact, 100 days and more as we get into the March for Life week. It starts tomorrow. And maybe, Josie, you could talk about the social media platforms that we're launching and how people can get involved.
Yes. So please do stay connected with March for Life Canada by following us on our various social media platforms. And more importantly, be engaged. So like these posts, share them, comment on them, do everything that you can to help us spread the pro-life message so that more and more Canadians are exposed to the truth that life matters from conception to natural death. And in addition to that, in addition to the 100-day countdown, we encourage you to visit marchforlife.ca so that you can learn how to take action. Because as we discussed previously, our theme, You Are Not Alone, is not just a hopeful and encouraging message, though it is that, but it's also a call to action for the pro-life movement.
All the links to our social media platforms will be provided in the description underneath this YouTube video. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, please follow, engage, share, and keep spreading the word. And Josie did mention all the action items that we have on marchforlife.ca. And the truth is, the March for Life is an amazing source of inspiration and motivation, but it is just one day, right? Our pro-lifeness, if you can call it that, can't be limited to just one day. We need to be involved every single day of the year, however we're able to. If we see an opportunity to help someone, to maybe talk to someone, to have a conversation about abortion, to debate abortion, whether it's in your school, your workplace, or even in your place of worship, we have to do these little things. If everyone does their part, then we will definitely be restoring a culture of life in Canada. Debbie, any other final comments about the action plan here?
Well, just to let everyone know that the team here at Campaign Life Coalition is working really hard to ensure that Canada once again has a unique and engaging March for Life experience. We hope to be there on the Hill on May 13th, and we are really looking forward to seeing you all there.
As we wrap up today's theme launch, I'd like to thank Stephanie Gray-Connors, Steve Karlen, Genevieve Schadenberg for submitting their amazing videos for this launch. And of course, a big thank you to my colleagues here, Debbie Duval, Josie Lucky, Kevin Dunn, and all those at the March for Life organizing committee. I'd like to thank all of you watching, all of those who have been marching for so many years, to those who are considering marching for the first time this year. Big thank you. Stay connected, engage. Go to marchforlife.ca for the latest updates. And I guess let the countdown begin. See you on May 13th, everyone. Take care.
We are Canada's National March for Life, one of hundreds of marches held all over the globe, standing in solidarity with society's most vulnerable. With one voice, one message. Child in the womb, you are not alone. Pregnant mother, fearing an unknown future, you are not alone. Beloved senior, feeling isolated and afraid, you are not alone. On May 13th, Canadians will march peacefully on Parliament Hill and online to implore our leaders to enact laws that protect life from conception until natural death. In these days of uncertainty, let us reach out and tell those most in need, you are not alone.